Look, the rally is very strong. The basis trade is very rich. There is one number to remember, $84 trillion. And this number represents the amount of transfer of wealth, which is the biggest in history, which is going to happen between the boomer generation and the millennial, Gen Z and others. So this transfer is going to be favorizing crypto and digital asset, and Bitcoin is one of the winners there.
One of the things we saw in the last bull market was a lot of bad business models, a lot of bad actors pop up into this market. How concerned are you about that happening this time around?
It's a very interesting question. I think this time around the market has took the time to clean up what was, I would say, imperfect in its structure. There is still a lot of VC money floating around despite high interest rate, and some of these conferences are very good illustration of how much money is being spent on it. And it's a good thing in one way, but it's always over-exaggeration and too much. So I want to keep a cool head and make sure we are walking into this rally and this bull market with standing on Trudeau giants like BlackRock and Fidelity.
And this cycle seems a little bit different than past cycles. In the past, we've often been focused on the halving as the moment that precedes often new all-time highs. We've already hit the all-time highs thanks to the ETF excitement in the US and, of course, anticipation of the halving. So does this sort of rally fizzle out at any point soon, given that may be baked in already?
Yeah, you talk about the ETF. There's an interesting number on the ETF. Since the launch of the ETF, 4,500 Bitcoin a day have been hoovered by the ETF, while the real new supply of Bitcoin is 921. That's before halving. So you can see how the imbalance between offer and demand can be there, assuming people keep the Bitcoin with them in their pocket. So you factor in halving on top of that, and I think we are just in the first innings of what can be a very significant and transformative rally.
Now, CoinShares via your acquisition of Valkyrie in the US, is an issue of one of those spot ETFs of Bitcoin in the US. Where is the demand coming from for that? Is it institutional investors? That was the big narrative before the ETFs were improved, or is the retail investor getting back into the market?
So it's interesting because we get the two views. We get the European view and the American view. The European market traditionally has been a very retail market, which is now becoming a much more institutionalized market. In the US, there has been a bit of a famine for good quality product. We've been doing ETF in Europe for 10 years, so there was like a famine of good product in the US. And the demand in the US is like all across the board. The 13F filing are starting to come out. There's a few indications already last week. I think it's going to be very interesting to see who is really buying beyond just like the speculation. And you're going to see some definitely big names showing up. So a very healthy mix between retail investor who wants to access quality product and institutional investors who are finally able to allocate to Bitcoin.
And all eyes now really on Ether as well. Ether price is jumping on sort of hopes that perhaps an Ether ETF in the US may be next. Via Valkyrie, are you planning to file for application?
So we can't really talk about what Valkyrie will do or will not do until it's public, but in a matter of fact, we are observing the Ethereum decision very, very closely. We are following that very closely. CoinShares was not in the race for the Bitcoin ETF 3 months before the approval, and we managed to requalify ourselves at the last minute. We are definitely looking at it very seriously.
And the CEO of VanEck just not too long ago said he doesn't expect the SEC to approve those Ether ETFs. What's your view?
Yeah, look, I think our view is very similar to Jan. I don't see anything being approved this side of the year. I think the SEC put a very clear line in the sign between, what is proof of work versus proof of stake, and proof of stake is one step too complicated right now to get an approval before the election cycle.